Meanwhile, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken attended a high-level meeting on Arab-Israeli relations. The Russian invasion of Ukraine and also Iran's nuclear deal dominated the talks. Blinken has highlighted the crucial role that Israel has played in aiding humanitarian efforts and also in trying to bring about a diplomatic solution. He also underlined that the invasion is leading to a sharp rise in inflation, especially of food and other essential supplies. The United States and Israel will, of course, cooperate in preventing a nuclear-armed Iran. This despite disagreements that they have over the emerging nuclear deal. Blinken highlighted that the United States will stand up to any kind of Iranian aggression if that were to happen. All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what this high-level meeting, of course, means, we're joined in by our correspondent Jody Cohen, who's joining us live on this broadcast. Jody, this, of course, is an important visit by the American Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He met with Yair Lapid. And what are the key takeaways of this crucial meeting?
Yes, well, he certainly covered a number of topics in the statement to the media just now. We know that Antony Blinken arrived in Israel on Saturday, and today he's got a busy schedule of meeting, as you said, with Foreign Minister Lapid, with President Herzog, with Prime Minister Bennett, and with Defense Minister Gantz as well. They have been talking about, of course, the Russia-Ukrainian war, and he really spoke from the heart, I felt, in terms of what he had seen there. And he also mentioned visiting Israel's humanitarian aid hospital that has been set up and is being staffed within Ukraine by Israeli doctors and nurses. He also talked about efforts to improve Israeli-Palestinian ties. And he mentioned that he's going to be meeting with PA President Mahmoud Abbas, of course, as well. The real focus of these meetings, though, today is, of course, talking about Iran. We know that the Iran nuclear talks and the deal is potentially going to be signed over the next few days. And this is perhaps not an attempt to sell the nuclear deal to the Israeli public, but perhaps more of an attempt to show the American public that America is still with West Asia. And there's a real focus on regional cooperation as well. He mentions that the US is committed to the Abraham Accords. He condemns the terror attack that took place in Israel this week. He talked about the need for stability and investing in West Asia, and mentions the US ironclad commitments to Israel's security. And of course, the $1 billion that is going towards the Iron Dome defense system. Interestingly, he also mentioned India. He talked about the I2U2 initiative between the UAE, India, Israel and the US, and said that there's going to be more to come on that in the coming week. And we know that Defense Minister Benny Gantz is expected to travel to India this week, and Prime Minister Bennett also next week.
Absolutely, indeed. And I just want to dwell a little bit about what Israel has been, of course, doing in this war that's taking place where Russia has invaded into Ukraine. Israel enjoys good relationship between both the Russians and also the Ukrainians. Is the United States looking to try and get Israel to, assume a bigger role in mediating for peace in this war in Ukraine?
I think the US understands that Israel is going as far as it can. It's playing a very important mediation role between Russia and Ukraine, building on those strong relations that it has with both countries and also Israel's diaspora in both countries, and of course Russians and Ukrainians in Israel as well. Antony Blinken mentioned the humanitarian aid that Israel is very, very involved in and has been involved in really from the very early days. But the US is also mindful that Israel has to bear in mind its existential threat with Iran, really active in Syria, where Russia is in charge of the airspace. So there's an understanding there also that Israel has to manage all of these issues. And it's really going to be a subject of the discussion later on today. There's a key Negev summit, which is really historic. There's going to be the foreign ministers of Israel, the US, UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Egypt. There was talk of Jordan perhaps being involved as well, right, and also of Saudi Arabia behind the scenes. So this is really a historic occasion. If somebody had said to us 2 years ago that we would see Israel hosting a summit of this kind, I'm not sure that we would have actually believed that this would be happening now.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Jody Cohen, for joining us and getting us all those insights. We'll, of course, get back to you as more details emerge in this developing story. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.